We have an amazing guest today talking about the rare triple conjunction of Mars, Venus, and the Sun in Capricorn during the week of January 6th to the 9th. Those planets are like triangling up. I mean, well, they're all holding hands, and it's a big deal. We haven't seen that energy and not that close to each other since late December of 1993, all the way into January of 1994. That's the last time these planets all came together like this and reset themselves. Sun is resetting, Mars is resetting, the Sun is the inferno for the cosmic reset. And my guest today is an incredible expert on all things astrology. Her name is Julija Simas, and we're going to drop into a deeper understanding with a great little slideshow of the way the sky is playing out. And at the other end of my interview with her, I'm just going to roll through a general comment for your sign, for each sign, just sort of saying, well, what does this triple conjunction vibrate as for you in your whole sign house sky? So it's an intro. Hello, here comes Julija, time with Julija, and links to her website and the article she wrote about this in the description box below. I hope you'll enjoy this. I really tremendously found her wisdom enlightening and entertaining. And we talk about the deeper ideas we have around this week ahead. So hopefully you get the time to watch this video before the 6th and 9th of January, because it's also a time of ritual and sacred magic as you have these powerful reset buttons healing and happening and renewing and revising one part of your life, one part of your reality, the Capricorn sky. So when we get to the all signs after the end of the interview, that's where we'll go. But I hope you'll spend some time watching Julija and me talk before you watch the shorter all signs. That does help the video if you watch more than less in terms of the algorithm. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed this interview.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm so delighted to have Julija today with us. And I am so absolutely amazed by having discovered an article she wrote that was so incredibly moving for me, because it really touched into how we're in some kind of a really important time in life, collectively and individually. Mars and Venus are in their 32-year synodic cycle. The Capricorn sky's lit up. We have a triple conjunction, and we have two planets meeting the Sun in its heart and getting divine mission instructions for a huge reset for humanity in a sign associated with Saturnian issues of governance and resilience and monetary systems and structures of life. So this is going to be an incredible year, this January, especially as these resets happen. And I consider her one of the most well experted on the topic after reading her article. I feel like a novice. Well, welcome, Julija, today. And I'm so delighted you're going to bring your experience with astrology to us, as well as an understanding of Venus and Mars in the heart of the Sun in January. Welcome to my channel. And I'd love
Thank you so much, Laurie. It's great to be invited to your wonderful channel. I mean, it's big, it's grown, it's wonderful. When you concentrate on, something in particular like YouTube or whatever social media you're using, it's probably a good idea, isn't it?
Yes, it's called verticality. I'm pretty well learned the art of vertical. You're quite well known for founding this CIA, the Central Cosmic Intelligence Agency, not the CIA. And it's a really important astrological community. And I'd love you to share a bit about that community and also how you got into astrology and how many years you've been practicing before you share your wisdom with us about the sky.
Okay, so look, my interest in astrology was, from let's say the late teens, doing tarot cards, all kinds of, things like that. Even Chinese astrology before I started studying Western astrology, feng shui principles, like living magically overall. And very much interested in magic and alchemy. And as I sort of furthered, down the track, and it was only after I became a mother and had more, or sort of needed something that was my own, in my early 30s, was, again, going back to studying more about alchemists and magic, like the living magic. And I realized that all of the people that I was looking at and studying all knew astrology really well. And I went, okay, to live more magically, and make this part of my life, I need to study astrology, like, for real, instead of kind of doing my own reading and all that kind of stuff. So In 1999, I booked in to do a diploma course, and I was like, just so into it straight from the beginning, right? So,
Oh,
and never stopped. And of course, anyone that's done a formal, study of astrology, we know that it just keeps growing. Like you have the basics, or you sort of do, segments on particular topics like family dynamics or dreams and astrology, mundane astrology, and then there's just so much more.
and
So
it's never ending. There's so many layers, so many different disciplines of astrology and all of that. But I think that people who take to astrology often feel like they're remembering something, like they've done this before. And probably you sound like you're
yeah,
like me, same thing, like another lifetime, maybe, right?
did we do this before somewhere? And look, this happens a lot with the agents, or the cosmic intelligence agents that I've gathered or have become interested in what we're doing over the years. We all feel like we have done this before. We've been at these meetings and we've discussed these things somewhere before. So there's like the CIA chart has Jupiter on the South Node in the 10th house in Libra. So there's something about, we've somehow very much been connected before. And opposite that is the moon in Aries, on the node as well. And so this is always about the progressive nature of astrology. To me, astrology is not stuck back in time. We respect and look back and learn so much from what came before, but it's a living entity. It's alive. It's always teaching us something more. It's always, going into these rabbit holes, astrological rabbit holes that someone else may not have looked at before. And so again, this is where I go. Like, as
Wow.
you know.
Well, that's quite the inception chart. I don't know if you planned it. Jupiter South Node is like wisdom and knowledge from the past.
I didn't know electional astrology back then enough to actually select a time. It was just this intuition that I had with the name Cosmic Intelligence Agency. And one afternoon I said, I have to buy that URL now.
Oh, bless you. For all my listeners, and I have a lot of astrologers and learning astrologers and listening to me, you might want to go ahead and join the community over there. I am a member right now.
Yes, you
I'm in and
are.
out,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
I actually think I met some of your community back in Pandemic Central, like 2020. I was on a little panel doing something. But we're going to talk to on the CIA group. I am so excited about this sky coming up in January, and I introed us to talk about what it really is about. But I am just like, I'm excited. I'm a little nervous because it's such an intense sky with the three planets all co-joined in Capricorn. And you're going to share a little slideshow. But I remember you said some things about it in the article, and I was just really taken by how you expressed that. And I would like to read that now for everyone because this is why we ended up together. You're saying like together these three planets in Capricorn bring about a certain cosmic alchemy of purpose. I wish I'd written that. A cosmic alchemy of purposeful transition, one that means business, one that demands certain things get done. There's a responsible, determined, deliberate tone to this transition as we peak with one cycle with the past on our backs and begin another, as new missions are seeded and purified by the sun. And then you said, as we grapple with the understanding, the state of the world, and concern ourselves with what may come next. When we look closer into this Capricorn Venus Mars sun point, culminating as we enter 2026, we see quite a pattern repeating of the world trying to manage itself through economic instability, our disillusionment with democracy, concerns of rising fascism and or communism, and increasing debt, and the whole divide between the rich and the poor. So brilliantly said, especially for Capricorn.
Yes. Well, this is what makes every conjunction so unique, right? Like we talk about a Venus Mars conjunction and they can be in different signs and what have you. And one thing we know about the synodic cycle of Venus and Mars, just Venus and Mars together, is that they will repeat in the same part of the zodiac every 32 years, right?
Mhm.
So this becomes significant. It's like anytime, like we could just, in your own natal chart, wherever Venus and Mars are, they will repeat in the same synodic phase to each other and the sun every 32 years. So it's a significant sort of, passage that we repeat, right? So again, looking into the Capricorn star point, this conjunction in Capricorn, noticing that the sun was there, of course, is that this is the closest conjunction of Venus and Mars to the sun since 1987, but the closest one that we have in Capricorn in its cycle now through Capricorn, which started in the late 1880s and finishes in the 2100 sometime and moves into Aquarius. But this is like they start off as, I think, morning stars, meet at the sun, and then become evening star conjunctions in Capricorn, and then it moves out into Aquarius. So this is particularly meaningful for me because it's the closest one in Capricorn and the closest one ever in this century.
Yeah, I know. I saw that too. I was looking at that myself because, Venus is going to finish her Capricorn journey and no longer do the synodic meetup with Mars. But when I was doing my own research, I ended up just before I even read your article going, well, yeah, 1993, December, January of 1994, Mars, Venus were joining the sun in Capricorn, but not this close. It was,
Not this
it's
close.
20 arc minutes away, the three planets at one time, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so it's pretty
yeah.
exciting. It's almost like a mother maiden crone too, because it's kind of like Venus, Sun, Mars, Venus, and then Mars, Sun. It's almost like 3 days and nights in the tomb with Jesus or something.
Yes,
It's
yes,
got
yes.
something epic about the number three going on here.
Well, it feels like also because it's the closest one in Capricorn, it feels like a crescendo of what's been developing, let's say over the last 120, 50 years in Capricorn, and then again, what's where we're going to go from here. So I feel somewhat hopeful that we've reached a crescendo of perhaps the worst of things, and now we will move on to be much more like, again, the past is, in our backs, and we're moving forward from
Yeah.
from this point.
Yeah, we kind of are crescendoing. We finished Pluto transiting Capricorn.
Yes.
We've left behind. We just moved into the element of air with the great conjunction full time of Saturn with
Yeah.
Jupiter, which gives us, an air story for 200 years. Like we're literally leaving the dark part. As Stephen Forrest wrote a great article called "The Death of the Dark Fathers" or "The Fall of the Dark Fathers" as Pluto is
Yeah.
leaving
Yeah.
Capricorn. That really struck me as he was ringing the bell for the end of tyranny, despotism, control, elite power over the people, gaps in wealth. And you even add like the extra layer of Pluto in the south declination out of bounds for a decade every like late summer to
Yes.
yeah. So now we've got
Yes.
this kind of new energy of the people, the south declination Pluto, according to research done already by
Yes, I can't
Rosie,
remember her
Rosie
name.
Finn.
Yeah. Okay.
Rosie, yeah. She's really done the research to show us that this is times where we see things like the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Protestant Reformation, where there's a people rising up to take power back from those who
Yeah.
control the power over. So when we
Yeah.
add all of that, I don't know that we even have a comparison to so many dovetails.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, that's right. And then, of course, the zero Aries, Neptune, Saturn conjunction, and the eclipse just before that.
I
On
know.
the year of the fire horse. I think that's incredible that the year of the fire horse, which is such a great image for zero Aries in a sense,
I know. I
you
know you
know,
can't make it up because it feels like a simulation lately when these things are also cartoonishly overlapping with each other. I'm a fire tagger at birth, but
uh-huh.
a fire horse meets with a like a 6,000 year rare 0 degree conjunction
Yes.
coming up on February 20th at zero Aries, which is in our astrology tradition, the world axis, which leads to pivotal global and
Yeah.
societal and massive changes for humanity at large, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, big cycle beginning, and this Venus Mars Sun conjunction seems to be like a a precursor of what we're going into. like again, like fusing, alchemizing something completely regenerating. Sorry,
Yeah,
you know
yeah, that's
what's
all right.
going on. Yeah.
Well, you know something, it reminds me of like if Mars, men are from Mars and Venus are, women, men, the Venus Mars thing with the guy who wrote the relationship book, women are from
Yes.
Venus and men are from Mars, Alex Gray. But, if you do take the complements of the goddess of love and war or the masculine, feminine archetypes, you fuse them with the sun in short order after each other, it does feel kind of the word you said, alchemical, right?
Yeah.
And you could take like the Lover's card in the tarot and talk about the Archangel Raphael over Adam and Eve, basically. Like, what is this? What is this thing that is two but is really one? And how are we maybe going to find the balance? And years ago, I was in shamanics. I was shamanic studies girl, and with the Ecuadorians in the Andes at this time, and they have a whole in their cosmology the idea that the condor and the eagle, and that the North Americans are the Westerners or the Europeans are the eagle, and the people of the southern latitudes are the people of the condor, and they compare that to the heart and the head. So European Western culture is the head, and they are the culture of the heart. And then there's a prophecy that they have in their language, the Quechua language, about one day these two will unite. And so I think that's important when I look at a masculine and feminine energetic coming into communion together with the sun. Does that feel like a true thing to you? Maybe that could be something we're looking for.
Well, like with everything in astrology, like we think about Venus and Mars together and then, infused with the sun. Venus and Mars coming together, Venus cools Mars and Mars is, Mars heats Venus in a sense. Yet we also see, let's say the opposite, that if Venus represents values and what is right and wrong and how we live by those principles, Mars excites that, right? So the Venusian principles are so much more empowered. And then the Martian stuff maybe might, be more placated, but we're going to see both. We're not going to just to see this, beautiful sort of energy coming together. We're going to see the dramatic differences as well, right?
Yeah.
And one thing that comes to mind, which is a really good way to look at this, depending on whatever's happening in your own life, is that Caroline Casey always said, cool head, warm heart, right? Like it's not a hot head and a cold heart or a cool heart, but a warm heart and a cool
Yeah.
head. So
Yeah.
keep cool, keep cool, but keep the heart warm. And that says a lot to me always about Venus and Mars coming together.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, like Mars has got a really good executive capacity for that decision-making power, but Venus could
Right.
be that warmer heart. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't think anything's going to look like rainbows and unicorns, but I do want to have the long-range vision that maybe humanity
Yes.
can learn not to work on, like what my girlfriend Kim, who wrote a book about this stuff, calls a fear-based model, right? So there's a fear-based model,
Yeah.
a love-based model. There's a communal and
Yeah.
collective cooperative model and a competitive model. So Mars
Yes.
versus Venus. And so, because Venus can bring something into unity where Mars separates. So, how do we find it's not, you don't want to live on one model over the other, right? You want within your own life and in the group collective
Yeah.
for us
Yeah.
to have both operating systems going on at the same time.
Yeah. Well, we want to look at these things as we do as astrologers, as, the potency of what's possible. Like we look at these and go, this is a really magical combination here. So in the long term, what is seeded during this time? So again, keeping positive energy, positive actions, taking place is going to seed through this time. So again, being very conscious of we're all going through and personally going through, and really keeping that cool head and warm heart activated as opposed to the opposite.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other part, you just said seeded, and every seed takes time to sprout. And
Yes,
the Venus seed is like a 4-year cycle in solar conjunction in Capricorn. But
yes,
also, I tend to see Venus in the first like 9.5 to 10 months, like pregnant with the story. So
yes,
see some major
yeah,
stories unfold by the end of this year. Mars is opening up a 2-year story, a little 2 years and a few months of
yeah,
a new narrative. And then Venus, Mars together in this condition, in this place, a 32-year seed
yes,
to grow into whatever it becomes. So we see
yes.
like a 3 seeds, 3 time frame story, really.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So it's yeah, it's pretty exciting, and I think it's an amazing, amazing way to start the year
It
of
sure is. I'm looking
2026.
forward to meditating on the synodic, conjunctions each day, doing vision boards. So
Yes,
yeah, I'm literally planning for it. So what I'm going to do is, you wanted to share some slides, and I'd love to,
yes.
I have a
Sure.
very keen educational audience in my patron community and here. So we're loving to learn.
Fantastic, fantastic. I love it too. Um, so what we're looking at, and Laurie, of course, you can ask and interact here, of course. So this conjunction, it's kind of extended. There's a Venus Sun conjunction, then there's a Venus Mars conjunction, and then there's a Mars Sun conjunction, one after the other within 3 days. So what makes this really quite, significant is we can see this, on a like solar scope image, as we call it, that Mars and Venus are on the opposite side of the sun to Earth, so in their superior conjunctions, as we call it, and opposite Jupiter. Mercury is there too, and there'll be a solar conjunction, I think, later in January. And Jupiter being opposite this combination is, astronomically huge,
Mhm.
right? Because there's two of our inner planets, the planets that surround the Earth, over the other side of the sun, and then Jupiter's, closest to Earth in its cycle being retrograde. So this lineup is, somewhat, I don't want to say alarming, but if we think about it just in that context of the pull on the Earth at this time, um, is quite incredible. I mean, we see these things here and there, of course, but when Jupiter is involved, we know that there's a big force pulling, and then the other two the other way. So even we could think about Jupiter being opposite this conjunction in Cancer, being so sort of activated as well, as in what do we believe? What are we going to fight for? What are we going to, want to sort of bring better into the world? All those kind of things come into it when we add Jupiter to the story as well, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna, like, almost like, probably watch Stefan Burns, watch for some solar flare activity.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, exactly. Keep an eye on all of those things. And again, January is the time that the Earth is closest to the sun as well. So, what's that called? Anyway, anyway, then what we notice when planets are in their outer conjunction is that they're all moving fast, right? This is their fastest speeds. Their Venus is overtaking the Earth, and Mars is going the other way. I mean, not the Earth, the Sun. So these three conjunctions, Venus Sun, Venus Mars, and then Mars Sun. Venus is midway through her 19-month synodic cycle that started back during in March last year. Oh, this year still, 2025, or as we're recording this. And she is transitioning to the evening star phase, right? And whereas Mars is at the end of a 26-month synodic cycle, because planets beyond the sun begin their synodic cycles conjunct the sun, not when they're retrograde, right? So we've got them crossing over behind the sun with a kind of a long embrace, let's say. I'll call it a long embrace because their cazemis are a lot longer during this process as well, meaning in the heart of the sun for longer than usual,
Mhm.
and and also of course, sorry, excuse me. Sorry, Laurie. Oh,
Oh, that's okay. I'm always the same. I always drink water all the time through my videos because I always end up talking so much. But yeah, I didn't even think about it that way, that these are actually not fleeting kazimis, that they keep lingering in the sun's heart. That's quite the purification. It's like they're really being
yes.
super purified.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you think about a Cazimi in the, let's say, Venus in the superior, in the interior conjunction or the retrograde conjunction, the sun's moving at its pace as it does, but Venus is moving slow. So the sun and Venus separate very quickly, right? Whereas Mars, when it's when it starts this new cycle, it's only doing this because, well, again, they're Kazimis, they're extended, and I looked into the hours, and so Venus, it's the longest Cazimi that they ever have, or that any planets will have with the sun, is
Wow.
Venus and Mars in this particular phase. So, and it lasts for about Venus 33 hours and Mars 39 hours, and there's a bit of an overlap. So that's incredible. I mean, when you think about that, that's just fusion, multiplied to me.
Yeah, that is an incredibly long time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, as we were talking before, this Venus-Mars conjunction is within 20 minutes of arc of the sun. So the closest solar conjunction of our time since 1987, which happened at 0 Virgo, and that was 19 minutes of arc. Anyway, and the closest in Capricorn, as I was saying, that happens every 32 years. And the last conjunction of Venus and Mars near the Sun, which was about 3 degrees apart. So, we're not talking big degrees, but it makes a big difference to how long their conjunctions with the Sun are because they are so much closer, even 3 degrees, right? So, but the last conjunction, as you probably, remember, was in August 2019, and it was often said that this is the conjunction in Virgo that then COVID was spawned out from,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I've been using that cycle of Mars's heliacal rise and also his solar conjunction to track like big themes in the collective. And one of them definitely was the onset, both sidereal, by the way, and tropical, because it was the
Right.
August conjunction of the sun. It's actually Mars, the god of plagues and war in Babylonian astrology, co-joined the sun in Virgo. But in the sidereal in Libra, the same thing happened as well. But it was Mars rising, I think, in Libra. So we ended up, in Virgo. So we ended up with two signatures, like a sidereal overlap and a
Right.
tropical. And boy, did we
Yeah.
get smacked with a plague.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then of course then the Capricorn Council that was January 2020, was 22 degrees Capricorn. So not far away from this conjunction of Venus and Mars, which is at 18 or nearly 19 degrees of Capricorn. So if we look back at the last solar conjunction, so here's the 2019 one and then the 2013 one. So for the article, I was mostly interested in the closest conjunctions with the sun because Venus and Mars meet, you know, well, it's not, there is a pattern, but it's not a regular pattern, put it that way. So, they met in 22. So let's just go back to the last one. The last time they met was 6 Aquarius in 24, then 0 Aquarius in 2022, and then 16 Capricorn in 2022. Of course, that was where the Venus star point was as well. Although the Venus star point happened in January, whereas and she was retrograde then. So then meeting up with Mars again, we have a few meetings with Mars if Venus is retrograde. And Mars is in the vicinity, let's say. So anyway, to follow the Mars and Venus cycles, pick which one, pick which cycle you want, right? To go deeper into it. But again, my focus was on the solar conjunctions or the close ones as well.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, so we have the 6th of January, all the times here are UTC. The Venus Sun conjunction happens first. Then Venus moves past the Sun and then meets Mars. And then and then the Sun meets Mars. right? So we've got this, one, two, three, let's say we would separate them separately and make a big deal about them, but they're all happening very close, right?
I know it makes it a little almost like putting together, a new cocktail in your shaker and going, well, we're going to mix a little like gin with a little bit of this.
Yeah, right.
And it's all happening at once. And can you tell the difference? But I would say, of course, anybody who's a Capricorn with planets anywhere like 13 to
Yes.
21 or so, Capricorn, especially your rising, your sun or moon. I mean, talk about a epic, once in a lifetime intense energy. And also, of course, the angular signs of Libra and Aries and Cancer placements in this corridor of this triple Kazemi are like
Yes.
triple. Yeah, this is an intense energy for those folks.
Yes. So again, you can sort of separate the cycles and look at them further, like, the Mars cycle that is finishing this time, was seated in at 25 Scorpio, in 2023. And the Venus Sun retrograde conjunction happened in Aries. So we're in that Venus synodic cycle. We're finishing a Mars cycle and starting a new one. And yeah, it's I love the kind of image of Venus crossing over, from morning star to evening star, and Mars, beginning a new cycle, going the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at these charts, I mean, this is what astrologers, kind of can recognize, let's say straight away, where the planets are going because of the position near the sun, right? This is what we
Yeah.
get good at, isn't it? Right.
Well,
Um,
and you did bring up a point about the phasal condition as a morning star versus an evening star, and in the ancient, more like Sumerian, Babylonian stuff. I mean, we look at the morning star. Venus is more war prone in her warrior, masculine, more Athenian archetype.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, because we were plagued by wars right now for the last cycle of 19 months. So we want to see the evening star.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And so in this phase and what's coming up, and then Mars, kind of Mars becoming a morning planet in a sense is, becomes much more vivid and more dynamic and more visual, more seen over coming months as well. So it will be interesting to, there's a lot of again potency in this combination, and what will come out of that is a lot of potential for, appeasing the wars that have been, so sort of dominating the world. And again, there's a lot of talk of the peace talks, although we've had them for a while, getting closer to some kind of
Mhm.
resolution, and revolution.
I'll take both. I'll take
Yeah,
both.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. So anyway, just to see what it looks like in an astrology chart. So yeah, as Laurie was saying, if you've got planets between, 13 and 22 of Capricorn or Cancer, or, the other cardinals, Libra and Aries, then it's very much in that sort of line. And we can see, Chiron and Eris very much in that lineup, as well as a square, and again opposite Jupiter. So we can kind of already see, the things that will be, being raised up, like the Epstein files, the inconvenient truths that are coming out, and people speaking up and not letting things go. And like in Australia, we've got, this huge, uprising after the Bondi shootings that, that have opened up this, anti-Semitism sort of, dialogue about everything, is being blamed on that. And for the Australia chart, the this conjunction happens in the ninth house.
Mm.
And so it's very much about, the racist, ideals, and different races trying to, or religions, kind of being and living in the same sort of world. So there's a lot of that, you know, again, the things that are rising up, speaking, being spoken up about. There's a lot going on. There's more to come, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. How do you interpret for yourself the fact that Jupiter, Mr. Truth guy down there, is retrograde during all of this. Does that have any meaning for you?
Well, I think that, well, again, the retrograde Jupiter's the closest in, we can see him very vibrantly at the moment in the sky. So he's speaking to us a lot closer. It's like you got to listen. You got to listen a lot closer. So speaking up for your own truth, living your own truth, not just being guided by what you're told. And like in this world, I mean, I can't believe a lot of the things I hear or see, or even now with AI, what you read. There's been so many memes, Laurie, now they're astronomical memes saying, "Oh, Venus is at her brightest on New Year." It's like, wait, what?
Oh yeah, no, AI does. If it's AI is so confused about astrology, I don't know what's going on, but it seems like it can't get a grip on it. That's
Oh, it's so frustrating. So I'm just sort of telling people, as agents, just speak up about it, going, yeah, Venus is not doing that. She's with the sun. And again, this is kind of, let's say, evolves our purpose even more to be more, again, doing what we're doing, but speaking up about the sky. Like this is what's happening in the sky. This is how you see it in an astrology chart. Teaching people like you do all the time with your channel. What we're actually doing, what we're looking at, and how that is in the sky.
Mhm.
Because there's just so much rubbish,
Yeah, yeah, and
Um,
even you bringing to light Jupiter's proximity, he's so bright in the sky. The retrograde planets are like that. That's why we think that they're retrograde. Like it's like an optical illusion. But like I looked at him up yesterday, I was like startled. I was
yeah.
walking back at night from a restaurant with my daughter, and we're looking up, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! That looks like inbound helicopter light, you know?
Yes. I mean, it's so vast. If you've got a telescope or something, this is the time to take it out and
Yeah.
look at Jupiter and see the moons. I went out the other day too, but like, so just something to understand between Southern Hemisphere and Northern Hemisphere is that Jupiter's quite high for you guys in the Northern Hemisphere now because it's in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is a northern sign. And Capricorn is our northern sign, let's say, right? So Jupiter's very low in the sky. So if you're in the southern hemisphere looking for Jupiter, it actually could be behind the trees, depends where you are, right? Because I was quite surprised going, oh, wow. I looked up and I saw Sirius and I thought that can't be Jupiter. That's way too high, right? And then it went, oh, there's Jupiter behind the trees. So again, very high in the north, very low in the south. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And in the sign like of his exaltation, which can be, sometimes a challenge because I think exalted planets are over the top sometimes. But on the other hand, he is, let me show you what's true. Like, let's talk about what's real and true and good. And he is digging up a lot of dirt, like you said, Epstein files
Yeah.
just being one of them, opposing Capricorn, which can be the archetype of the dark fathers, the heavy
Yes, yes,
patriarchal,
yes.
controlling, I call it whatever, ruling class or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you also think about Jupiter in Cancer and, let's say the billionaire class, kind of
Mm.
still protecting themselves, looking after themselves, more of what they want, their own agendas, nationalistic agendas, we've got the right to do this. It's very, justified, Jupiter, like, well, I'm justified to do this because I'm protecting my homeland and so on. So there's a lot of context behind it, as we know. We
Mhm.
can look forward to Jupiter in Leo. That might be a bit more fun. It has been a very confronting year, I think, because of Jupiter in Cancer. But
Right.
again, yeah.
And United States sun being there as well. So I mean you get a lot of
Yes.
amplification of sort of the United States manifest destiny or something.
Yes. Well, when Jupiter goes direct, I'm not quite sure
15,
exactly when that
15
is.
degrees, 15 degrees
Yeah.
on March 11th. Yeah.
Which is right on on Sirius and also yeah, the USA sun.
Yeah.
So, it's becoming this real focus point for that, right?
It sure is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then the Venus Sun conjunction at 16 Capricorn, begins this whole sort of, series of conjunctions, is also very much in line with the USA Sun,
Yeah, and in the
right?
house of the money that the nation could hold, right? Like the second house of the pocketbook of the country. So it's going to be interesting on the economic front, to say the least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's completely volatile. And I mean, like Bitcoin has a 13-degree Capricorn sun, I think, as well. and Mars in there somewhere. So it's been, diving, diving, diving. So, maybe, this is, let's say, the crescendo in a sense from which things will begin to rise again or stabilize. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
because again, fast moving planets, we think that retrogrades are more, like demanding or more difficult or what have you. But actually, I find that fast moving planets are much more to keep up with, right? Like
Mm.
Mercury moving fast, Mars and Venus moving fast. There's so much moving fast. It's like it's the symbolism of how fast and how much we have to process so quickly. It's really hard to keep up with. You almost think, oh, thank God Jupiter's retrograde. We can actually take in, we can take in something that we need. Otherwise, it just kind of goes past you very quickly. So again, very fast moving, but fast moving together for a long time. I keep calling it the trail of these three, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Well,
actually
it's
in,
yeah, it's an assembly of planets in
yeah.
Capricorn, and yet there are also invisible planets in that assembly as well.
Yeah. Which, again, we often call, under the beams or in the underworld. And I've just put these kind of slides in, the many, many kind of words astrologers use. Well, first of all, they're invisible. We can't see them, not like those memes telling us that they are. In the underworld, now, of course, that has many connotations to having a bad experience. You're going to the underworld. But these days we understand it that, it's a process that we need to go through. It's some kind of trial that you will come out renewed, somewhat transformed, transitioning from one thing to another. So personally, we can think about that, if there's something, some mission that you've been on and you really want to kind of sort it out, this is a fantastic time for that. Again, traditional astrology would call it burnt up. The planets are burnt up, debilitated, or blinded. They can't see anything because they're in the sun. Whereas I have a different thought about that and seen that through many clients over the year that this is much more of an empowered planet than it is a debilitated one. Um, and of course, we understand this, Laurie, as you would, this process of Venus behind the sun, the longer kind of her longer journey behind the sun is very much related to the descent of Inanna into the underworld,
Hmm.
where she is stripped bare, everything's taken off her, and it's the rawness. This is how I see it, the rawness of self that is exposed. Like, who really are you? And what are you really doing? Like, be authentic, be real, stand up for, especially in Capricorn, stand up for what you stand for. So we're all kind of put into that sort of position, I think, at this time.
I like that whole descent of Inanna story, but also like, to me, like we always venerate Venus, right? And in Indian astrology, Vedic, she's not, it's not venerated as much as in Western tradition. To
Yeah.
me, sometimes Venus is like if you've watched the movie The Matrix and Neo knows it's not real, and so does Cypher, but Cypher doesn't care. He's going back in for the cigar, the steak, and the wine. Venus is like, give me the perks in the Matrix, give me the pleasures, the wealth, the love, give me all the juicy tidbits of what Earth life is like, right? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
can be
Yeah.
okay. That can also be, to your detriment spiritually, really. So sometimes I think of her that way. And I think that when she's purified, especially in the slow purification process, it's literally like, it's like an alchemical purification, right?
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
of sorts,
Yeah.
away from the incidental, pleasurable, and frivolous, and maybe sometimes stuff that propels us to like almost prostitute ourselves for things that bring us temporary gains and pleasures at the expense of a depth of being that we all are capable of experiencing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I see these, well, again, these passages or journeys of any planet behind in this superior conjunction, because it's longer, to be very much some kind of mission, some kind of delivery. Like you said, there's an intelligence that we're gathering from, the other side of the sun that we will eventually bring down to earth and make it part of our lives. So anyway, but everyone's got different experiences of this, and to go through your own sort of pattern of these Venus passages or Mars passages is looking at your own patterns and stories over time. Again, generalizing things is we tend to do that because we need to do that to, understand what's going on. But again, it's so personalized, depending on what house it's in. What happened with Venus, it's like what happened 4 years ago, what happened 8 years ago is very significant to what's happening now, to bring back the pattern, to bring back the story, to see this, to live the theme from a different perspective, right? And now infused with Mars, it's like, take action about these things that have always resurfacing in this 4 year sort of journey. Anyway, it's incredible to watch.
Well, and then how we're like, if you were being prescriptive, because I'll be doing the all signs portion of this as well, right?
Oh, great.
I'm going to be trying
Right.
to tell everybody, hey, here comes this triple conjunction, closest we've seen, forever. And it's not just one story, it's a triple story. But it's one whole sign house. I use whole sign houses of someone's chart. And therefore, it's one area of profound purification, germinating of seeds and all of that. Like, what constructive thing would you do? What are you doing during this time? What is it? House is it for you? And how are you approaching this? You're in your own life.
Yeah. Well, it's in my second house. And I have been following the Venus star pattern through that house. And so in 2010, so it relates to my own independence with work and the resources that I have, as you would consider as the second house and so on. And I remember in 2010, it was a Venus star point in Capricorn, and I wasn't full-time working with the CIA or an astrologer, but I made the decision then that I am going to do that. Right? Because I was working with my husband. We ran a business, graphic design and web and stuff. And I just went, okay, I don't need to be doing this. I need to be doing my own full-time astrological work. And so it's become, the time that I reflect on what's most important. Again, like the social media and how much has changed. I don't really want to do it anymore, but now it's time to find new people, resources that will do that. And I've been doing that this year. So in a sense, letting go of a bit of the things that I've done and letting others do it, because I'm very hands-on and, very particular and, kind of going, letting in some other energy, put it that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with the
So,
Mars there. Yeah.
yeah. So are you going to do anything? I mean, just I'm going to be advising
Oh, yeah,
too, but are
yeah.
you going to so your whole second house is being renovated and in a profound way, and you can see cycles in the past. But like when we actually go through the week ahead, especially when the actual purification is
I
ongoing.
think I will make an altar, like, have a kind of fire outside, but you can't have that burning for 3 days. But, like have an altar inside with candles and, what do you call it? Incense and that
Incense.
kind of thing, as well as a fire outside. Like, nighttime kind of, fires are better at night. It's summer here, so it's perfect sort of, so very conscious. And then if you've got an altar that's set up that candles burning, it's like doing the vigil,
Yeah.
like, you need to have them on all night and protected and safe. Um, yeah, I don't think I'm going to try not to be turning out the lights, put it that way, or the fire.
I love that. I just want thinking about ideas for myself or other people in my community here on YouTube, like how to approach this in a more conscious and co-creative manner.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
India says you don't want to get grabbed by the grahas, the grabbers, the planets, and how can you participate more consciously with that? That's why I was wondering how you were approaching it. Thanks for sharing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, again, make it your own. I mean, I think that's the very important thing about ritual, is making it your own and what's significant for you. Again, focusing on where you are right now. Like, as you know, Laurie, people say, "Well, what does it mean for me?" But again, it's the it's the more meaning comes from your own self, like understanding what's going on in your life. And some people say, oh, there's nothing really going on, but there always is, right? So really focusing and meditating and guiding yourself through where you are right now, right? And sensing it, like, the body scan, like, where am I sensing some kind of unease, or something's not right in this plane, and what is it that I can rebalance or activate, again, with Venus and Mars. And the sun is so potent in delivering purpose, kind of aligning our purpose, right?
Yeah. Yes. The mission instructions from headquarters. I would
Yes.
also add good old Mercury's participation could look like dreams at night, synchronicities, cladons, hearing someone speak something and it's just a message you need to hear, accidentally eavesdropping on someone else's conversations. And the very fact that Mercury's participating in that assembly of planets gives us that kind of capacity for picking up on the signs around us as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very perceptive in that fast moving phase. I think all of them are, like very much so. And then, I was talking about the Cazimi before, but yeah, the 17 minutes of arc lasting for 33 hours for Venus and 39 hours. Like you just, like when it's 17 minutes of arc crossing at the retrograde phase, 17 minutes of arc is not, it's whatever, I don't know. A few minutes of arc is a moon size. Do you know what I mean? So it's only going through a bit of the sky here, but to last that long, these are the hours that I'd probably be doing the vigil more strongly, like this whole Cazimi hours. In the lap of the king, it's a special place for the planets. I prefer to look at that way than, being a more negative combination. Infused and forged in the sun's light. And we think about Venus and copper. Copper is the most what do you call it? Conducive metal. And Mars needs heat to bend its, associated metal iron. And together, that's how we make electricity. Like electricity is made from copper and iron, right? So this is the combination of these two to electrify, to send off, messages that go far and wide is really powerful. And yeah, the new seed of potential being ignited. And again, we won't see the manifestation perhaps, immediately, as we see it down the track. But, what is it that you want to really formulate in your life? It's Capricorn. We're in Capricorn. We're in Saturn's world. Saturn's at the end of Pisces. Saturn's, near Neptune. This is a culmination point in so many ways with Saturn at the end of Pisces and Neptune at the end of Pisces. What am I taking with me as this amazing resource in Pisces? And what am I kind of wanting to, let go of? So there might, the ritual might involve cutting something off, or, again, depending on where you are and
Oh no,
what's
no, I
going
love that.
on.
Mars, you can burn it in your fireplace, you can cut it and snip it. Mars cut, snip,
Yeah.
never burn, but it's ritually. And something came to mind is just the idea that embedded within the backdrop is the South Node in tropical Virgo, and Virgo is pure and virginal and
Yes.
priestessy and magical and magically ritualistic, and also there's
Sacred. Yeah.
sacred. And we
Mm.
end up with that also South Node, which is to release and to let go of something, and also it embodies our deep spiritual surrender, the moksha, liberation from the matrix, and in Indian astrology, Vedic astrology. And so, like, if you think about the positioning of the nodes of fate at the same time, North Node with Saturn, ruler of this, and the trine from
Yes.
the Virgo South Node, it kind of vibes out to me as like a really profound time of magic. And if you were to
Mm.
use it consciously, like that's why I was plumbing for your ideas, rather than just go unconsciously into it, because then you're kind of at the roll of the dice, and you like,
Yes.
they say like during an eclipse in Vedic astrology, like be sattvic, wear white, keep the food away out of the air, like don't eat food that's been left out, meditate, burn the sage, and don't get angry, and keep calm, like keep calm during an eclipse. Okay, that's the Vedic principle of you're going to you're going to sort of invite into the energy of the fallout of the eclipse, or the rollout afterwards, the energy that you put into the energy of the eclipse, the portals of eclipses. And this is kind of like a portal. We have an eclipsing of the planets from our sight anyway, because on the other side of the sun, as they are purified and regenerated and given new instructions. And I don't know, for me, it feels like a real special time to go consciously into the story with whatever means you have at your disposal, and try your very best, to invite in, like, I hate to say the cliches, but show me the way, thy will, not my will. You make me an instrument of your peace. It's a little bit of that in this.
Yeah. Well, I see it a bit more willful. Like, again, you said consciously. It's like you will say the words, you will mean what you want. Do you know what I mean? Like, the more specific you are, perhaps the more you will get out of it.
I think so. I think it's being Mercury specific, concrete, willful Mars, explicit, Mercury. And then at the same time, so you take the ritual actions, the mental actions, whatever you do, and also, in the backdrop is this kind of surrendered South Node energy behind all of it, or next, flowing to all of it. To me, it's quite intense. I'm not even sure what I'm doing yet, but I'm thinking I'm doing some serious ceremony. Yeah.
No, it's going to be a powerful time. And then, I call the article cosmic fusion or fusion because, as opposed to fission, this is, the energy that, it is quite explosive. It could be quite explosive, right? Sun, Mars, all that. But when you think about fusion, it's a blending of energies, and the energy works for a lot longer. It's not just kind of dissipated very quickly like as explosion or nuclear explosion. It actually is energy that lasts and lasts and lasts, right? So this is what we want to think about, this conjunction as a fusion energy, right? That is, like, again, you could visualize, this magical ball of power, good power, like, again, and we all hold an incredible amount of power, but we don't use it. And I'm not talking about that as a, overpowering people and, being demonic and all that kind of stuff. It's about using the incredible, version of ourselves that is powerful, and can do great work and does great work. Right.
I so love that you came up with the fusion metaphor. I mean, because it is the destructive, dangerous fission technology that represents the worst of the Capricornian era.
This is what we do. We just shoot each other. We bombard each other. We don't like that, instead of this long-term fusion that, yes, we can create energy for everyone. We can create an economy that works for everyone. I mean, many of us have this in our minds and hearts, and can't understand why the world can't be activated on those principles. But of course, we are behind all of these kind of ideas. And we've got to believe in them. And this is very much part of the Jupiter in Cancer opposite. We got to believe in this home planet and what it can become or will be. And again, going back to the heart of it in yourself first, not just outside and going, oh, I don't like that, I don't like this is awful, this is awful. Generate it from the power of your own kind of heart and being, and it multiplies a lot, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who think that the world's a better place because you fight to fix what's wrong, but really have to go starting within yourself. The generation of powerful change doesn't start because you change circumstances. That's like moving the furniture around. What generated the negative circumstances that you don't like to begin with? It wasn't the circumstance. It was the generative force of division, conflict, acrimony, greed, hate, separation, whatever you want to call it. And so you could keep, it's like, what it's like? It's like putting out fires or swatting you got a bunch of mosquitoes in the tent, you're constantly batting at it. And I think each of us, it's futile and it's exhausting, and it's, and that old expression, what you resist will persist. So at the end of the day, I think this kind of a sky, it can invite in a huge awakening for humanity and individually towards a new way. And like fusion is a great analogy.
Yeah. Thanks. I mean, another thing, how are we going for time, Laurie? I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. You and I are so yeah. We've got to connect. I'll have to visit you in Australia. I'll be in Australia. Let's try to wrap it up in 5 minutes. Would
Yeah,
that be
okay.
possible? Just because we're going
Yep,
quite a long time, but I think
yep.
people are going to love what we're talking about.
Yeah, great. So just to help you understand, everyone understand that Mars in its current cycle disappeared from evening skies November the 13th and only comes back on March the 16th. So this is a long time behind the sun, right? And then Venus disappeared on November the 26th or thereabouts, like, days here and there. And only returning to the skies by February the 17th, just in time for the Neptune Saturn conjunction and the solar eclipse. So this is a huge amount of time, and I've been calling it the trail. This trail. So when you look up at the sky at during the day, you look at the sun, or you can't look at it, but you know the sun. Venus and Mars are there for the longest period of time. So this is also part of this, conjunction is because it's so close to the sun that this conjunction is the longest lasting of these two in the underworld,
Yeah.
right? I mean, with Venus, it will happen, separately. Do you know what I mean? Like, but these ones are overlapping, right, completely,
It's
just
like
by,
thinking, yeah, like thinking of your desires and your, preferences and your values
yeah.
and what you want with the God of I decide, I choose, I act, and I have some bit of maybe some willpower. And they're both, invisible. And then I think that they are inactive in that sense. Like I wouldn't make major life change decisions if I could avoid it until the middle of March.
Yeah,
What I mean?
right, right.
I wouldn't be striking out like I
Until
know
they
we're
reappear. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
would say that when they come back to our visible eyes, all things Venusian, all things Martian are more likely to be going in a direction that is going to work rather
Yeah.
than trying to leap into that love story from an invisible Venus. I don't think so. But I wanted to let you know something funny. The sky just turned this most glorious pink and blue. And if I could only show
The
this to you,
colors, yeah, right.
but
Oh, wow.
the baby boy and the baby girl. Like
Yeah.
this is a sunset sky, but it's actually baby blanket blue and pink.
Oh,
And we're
beautiful.
talking about
Yeah.
Venus and Mars, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But Venus is very much more associated with the aqua color and Mars with the red.
That's
Whereas we
true.
associate girls with, pink and red and boys with blue. But
Isn't
when
that
you think
funny?
about it, the symbolism is the actually the opposite.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Why did we do that? Why did humanity, Western culture, swap it? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So Laurie, I mean, I'm just, again telling your viewers that we're already in it. We are not needing to wait till, at the potency of early January. We have already been in this process, right?
Yeah.
So it is a process, whichever way you're going through. And just to think about it in your astrological chart, this is how much kind of time and space it's sort of taking up in your chart. So to see it in this kind of graphic is quite amazing, right? And this is with Venus within 5 degrees of the sun. So again, this is a conjunction, and it's been there for a while, and it will continue for a while, and it replicates the retrograde conjunction with about 42 days and 40 days and 40
40
nights.
nights. Yeah.
I knew that about Venus, but then I recognized that this is also with Mars as well. So there's something about that 40 days and 40 nights of Venus's retrograde that is also replicated in this outer conjunction.
Like
You know,
wandering in the wilderness for 40 days, being tested by Satan and,
yeah,
Jesus and all of
yeah,
that. Yeah, no, there's a quality here. It's almost it's very hermetic and alchemical,
yes,
weird
yes,
time for everyone right now. It feels different right now to go through this period with this super close conjunction pending.
yep.
And like I've been around for 63 years, so.
That's right. So again, looking back at times, like look back at 93 when this was similarly happening, although not so close because again the conjunction wasn't as close. And just Laurie, we can finish up with the midpoint. So the sun remains the midpoint and has been the midpoint of Venus and Mars from the end of November and will be to around the equinox next year.
Mm.
So again, the Sun as a midpoint of Venus and Mars is the complete fusion that is long lasting, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, look at this Aries ingress. That's another thing to talk
That
about.
is, yeah, that's amazing. That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah,
says
yeah,
says
yeah.
the Aries sun, moon, and rising girl.
Oh, really? Oh, right. There you go. Oh, well, you're off on this big quest now,
It's
or
gonna
bigger
be
quest,
it's gonna be
right?
good. It's gonna be
Or
good.
maybe this is one of the last ones. But we were talking about this right at the beginning, Laurie, with all of the planets at this is at the middle point, 8th of January, all at the southern edge of, parallel down at this, southern declination. The sun's just starting to move back. They're all out of bounds as we're talking about it, except for Mercury. Oh no, Mercury, Mars, Venus, and the moon are out of bounds at the end of January, end of December.
Hmm.
But again, this edge where Pluto is, they're all congregated around there. That's quite amazing to me. That also, representing this kind of edge that we're on, or this extreme that we've reached, that now will start sort of moving back. Although Pluto, stays there, but you know what I mean? Like it's like we're introduced to some kind of new version of the wave. And
Yes,
that
like
doesn't happen very often. Yeah.
no, you're right. It's like outside the channel of the normative, right? Like because of the declination. So there's like something that wants to happen that's like outside the sort of like what do you call it? The middle of the bell curve, you know?
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah. So again, the extremes that we're in, we probably don't have time for all this, but I reckon you can read the article because there's more
Yes.
info.
Well, you know what? It's perfect because the article is incredible, especially with all of the world astrology comparisons that you went through that I think are fascinating. A lot of my crew are mundane astrology types.
Yeah, right, right,
And I will be
right.
putting a January article on Substack, and I'll also link your article to my Substack post coming up in a few days for the January stories in the mundane astrology.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
We'll
but
have to get you at the CIA to do us a webinar,
I would
okay?
love to do if I could get me over there. I'm an asteroid junkie. I've got tales beyond the tales of the
Great.
minor. I'm like Alex asteroid astrology, his like downline. So I would love
Uh-huh.
to talk minor asteroids. It's my favorite thing. The mind bending stories, but also how useful they are. I mean, the real minor asteroids, names of your kids, your dog, the cities you could live.
Yeah, right. I remember seeing something you did, I don't know, a while ago on YouTube. Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic.
It's my
Yeah.
utter fascination, but like 7 or 8 thousand clients later, having practiced the experiment on them, what I figured out is how mind-bendingly accurate they are, but also we're in a simulation, right? So like,
Yeah, right.
whoa, it's a
Well,
simulation, guys.
I did find out, well, I did a study a while ago. Julia is on my ascendant. Asteroid Julia is.
That's what I mean. And Gary Caton, he's going to be on my channel too. Mr. Mercury. He's really wise about the Mercury cycle.
Yes.
He was born with the asteroid Stargazer. He didn't think these minor asteroids mattered. But he's got Stargazer on his ascendant, and his whole gig is to take pictures of the real-time sky. Beautiful pictures.
Yes, yes.
And
No,
like,
I know Gary. Yeah,
yeah,
great
yeah,
guy.
yeah. But
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
that's when he converted.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so inspiring, the astrology that we do.
It
Oh,
is.
I keep going. I'll have to stop. Just to know that well, the Venus star point is the fixed star Vega, and I'll just read this out. Like it's not exactly conjunct. It's actually, as we do, we um we draw the line from the star to the ecliptic and where it is. And listen to this. Vega signifies powerful transformation, enlightenment, artistic talent, and material success, often linked with the falling eagle, representing a warrior spirit, but with unpredictability, guiding major life shifts toward higher consciousness and inner peace. I think that's just so perfect. And Vega, being once the pole star, was known as the judge of heaven and Mart. So
Oh.
this is really, again, kind of the big judgment of heaven or something going on, on the bigger picture scale. So I find that's quite interesting.
I find that it's a beautiful star to look at, and I find it a very positive influence in people's charts when they're born with a approximation to the star. Um, Apollo was also the god of prophecy and also healing. So there's another energy to the Apollonian archetype of the
Yes, Apollo and Mercury being involved. And
yeah.
again, yes, that's right. So it's very creative kind of source as well. Um, so again, Laurie, always.
I could spend hours listening to your wisdom and your beautiful slideshow. And
I'm gonna go.
honestly,
This is more about the Venus star, but again, the links that Laurie will put in will go to the article, and then there's another video that I did with Ariel Gutman, and we talk about this Venus star point a lot more. Okay,
well,
so
this is wonderful, and all the stuff in your article about the world astrology and the
there it
likely,
is.
yeah, the likely way it unfolds, and I'll be referencing that in my article coming out on Monday for my Pluto Chronicles. I'll be bringing their attention to that. I think this was very inspirational, and I really do appreciate that. And sometimes I think this is a time of year in the northern hemisphere where we're all feeling kind of down in the dumps. It's cold, it's dreary, and it's dark up here. So for all of us on the northern hemisphere, this was a very inspirational talk. And I think that people are going to go ahead and start building their altar thanks to you.
Got to do something. Yeah. Got
We
to honor
do.
this moment, not just for yourself, but for the world that we want to live in. I think, the CIA, we started our, let's say, output with the solstices and equinoxes as global intentions about, what the world is doing. There's a lot more people doing that now. We're kind of moved on to other things, but it was always very significant to honor these moments astrologically, and that, again, but now it's everywhere. So we say the missions worked. It's wonderful.
Oh my God. Well, you were pioneering. You're ahead of our curve. But you know what? Grateful. So grateful that you came on. I was really impressed you said yes. I thought, oh my God, because she's a big wig.
Oh,
So
no,
thanks
no,
for coming
no.
on. And I cannot wait to connect again. And I'm really thrilled with the information you shared with us today. And
Oh, my pleasure. And it's great for people to be interested and, so into it as I am, I suppose, or we are. I'll say we are. And it's great. Good luck with your channel.
thank you
Good
so
luck.
much.
Yeah, good luck to everyone out there during 2026. It's going to be amazing. I think it's very exciting, the year
Well,
ahead.
we live in those exciting times.
That's it. That's it. All the best, Laurie. Thank you
Okay,
so
thanks,
much.
Julia. I'm going to
Thank
sign us
you.
both off. So, and I'll send you a link when I'll tell you when it's going live. So you want to
Yeah,
tune in or share with your friends
yeah.
and family, all that. I'll
And
tell
I'll
you.
get in touch about you doing a session for us. It'd be
I would
great.
love
Yeah.
to
I
get
have
me on
put
the
the
minor astro.
invitations out to members, and I just call you agents anyway. Like, get in touch if you want to do something. But again, everyone's so busy, but we'll find a time.
That sounds wonderful. And you have a great rest of your holiday season and enjoy this amazing early week of January. Whoa.
Yeah,
Take care.
great. Thanks, Laurie. All the
Thanks,
best.
Julia. You
Yeah,
too. Take
wonderful.
care.
Okay, thank
Bye bye.
you.
I had such a fun time talking with Julia, and I hope you're going to now enjoy just a slight, vibrational overview of how it is to have both Venus and Mars germinating a new story in your Capricorn sky based on your sun, moon, and rising sign. So if you want to know how to do that, sun sign is career and purpose, moon is your emotions and your home and your nest, and your rising is anything about your life because it's a simulation avatar character in the game of life. It's your mask. It's your form that you play. Okay. So we're going to take our time to give you guys the guidance that you need through all of the signs, starting with Aries through to Pisces. If you like this kind of all signs content, as well as the educational content, it does help if you hype the video or like the video or subscribe or share. Those things make a huge difference in the success of this channel. This is my life's passion to teach astrology and to share wisdom from astrology. So I appreciate any of those helper motives that you could give me, like a thumbs up is even good. Let me go ahead and let's get started with Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. And let's get the chart up and start with the Aries people. All right, Aries, you'll have to go back to 1994 and 1995. Those 2 calendar years are really the last time that this new seed was planted in your 10th house of career and reputation. The best way to understand the triple conjunction, because we will break down the Mars and the Venus one separately in the week ahead, the best way to understand this triple conjunction is very simple. Understand this as a massive reset button of direction into doing something that you love or enjoy, Venus, that means you need to make choices and take decisions to activate that. Now, to be really clear, this is Mars invisible until March 17th or so, middle of March. Same with Venus, middle of February. It means that these decisions are not really activated yet, or these actions that come from choices are not showing up in real world change. It's probable that you're going to be ruminating on things to do with your career, pondering what you want to do, asking yourself what really brings you joy and pleasure in work and career, and what changes you think you need to make over the next 2 years for that to unfold, because Mars, like 1994 and 95, is going to try to reset your whole career trajectory as well in the 2 years that follow. So 2026 to 2027. Ultimately, you might be able to go back and say how you did make those changes then. I'm an Aries sun and moon, and I quit my newspaper reporting job. I dropped out of my Master's of Fine Arts in Creative Writing, and I started a psychic readings business by the time I got to the end of that story. In 1995, I had a whole new career path. So what I want you to think about is how you are going to do that again. Now, there's something very different happening this time around that did not happen last time, which is wonderful. It is that you're going to have Jupiter witnessing it from the other side of the sun, and he is in the sign of his exaltation. So whatever this changes, it can bring you a better home, a bigger home, a more expansive home, a more wealthy home, or a more prosperous home, as well as change your career up. It's the whole axis of home and public life and private life that's shifting here in most auspicious ways. The stellium is ruled by Saturn, who says, do you want to make money in distant forest, shore and lands, far off places? Do you want to move to another country, or are you going to make digital income, borderless revenue in new ways that expand your worldly success? This could also be taking the stage in some area of your life, really standing up with a new stage-like presence for something that you care about, whatever that is. Like you want to talk about it. Mercury's up here and he rules all your social media platforms. So there's something about maybe presenting yourself anew. For some of you, it could be starting a podcast. It could be starting a new website, a new direction in your career. Those sorts of things are very activated. And it's going to take you 2 years to know which direction it's going. But with the blessings of Lord Jupiter and the flow to the nodes of fate, it's definitely realigning the work for joy, purpose, and prosperity. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. There is a cosmic reset button that happened in 1994 and 95, and it is back again with more intensity in your 9th house. Depending on how old you are, maybe in 1994, 95, you reset your life regarding religion, foreign lands and travel, maybe churches, marriages, and weddings. I kid you not. Maybe things to do with legal and court matters, maybe to do with purpose and meaning of life. And maybe in that 9th house matters that connect you as well to foreign travel and book publishing as well, and publishing of all kinds in universities and academic settings. If I didn't say that, these are all the meanings of the house of God, house of knowledge and wisdom. So at a very deep level, finding an alignment in your life, to be moved into meaning and purpose in your life, to be following a direction that is deeply joyful and satisfying in purposeful matters of life. And because Saturn is the ruler of this 9th house, and this is different than it was way back when, he's saying, can you make money in a way that's meaningful? Can you rearrange your life's goals and dreams so that prosperity and gains of the career, Saturn, Neptune, North Node in the 11th house, fulfill a meaning in your life? Think true north, think compass alignment, following your true star, your true North Star, aligning a life with dharmic purpose. So you are trying to do that. It'll take 2 years to do that. If you're old enough, because you go back and say, yeah, I was an adult with a career and purpose and a meaning of life back in 1994 and 1995, you might be able to see the comparisons. This could even move you to another country. Some of you may have. I know a Taurus who moved to the United States back then for his career. There's lots of ways that it could show up. The sun rules the house of where you live. It's in the house of foreign lands. And you also might move because of a relationship to a significant marriage partner. And you could also, if you're single and you're looking for a relationship, find a new love story connected to travel, foreign lands, and far off shores that can get very important to you and very meaningful. This activates also childbirth and pregnancy. Did any of you have children back then? Some of you might have, and you might be going, oh, yeah, I had like a baby born, or my partner gave birth that year of 94, 95. If that happened, again, we're going back to the repeating stories that may come back for you, Tauruses, again. And finally, I will mention this, is that Jupiter witnessing the whole thing from the third house is going to bless it in a way that you didn't see in 94, 95. So don't be terrified. Jupiter witnessing from his exaltation, sort of guiding this reset button. Definitely for some of you, there could be a new change of neighborhood or home, a new region of your country, a different city or neighborhood that's going to help you thrive and prosper, that you're going to move to as a result of this stellium up here. Mars not visible, of course, till mid-March and Venus till mid-February. Any relocations that come from this, any applications for schools or universities, anything to do with foreign lands and travel, anything to do with meaningful job upgrades might have to wait until mid-February and or mid-March to fulfill itself. But this is a deep, profound part of ruminating about meaning and purpose in your life. End of story. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. Wowzers, look at that sky for you. It's about money. It's about the chunks of money that you can get in your life. What kind of chunks? An inheritance, a spousal separation agreement, sale of a property, a chunk of money wants to come your way. This kind of cosmic chunk of money reset button that you didn't, it's not your paycheck. This like opened a door, a possibility for Geminis back in 1993 and 1994, 1995. Is really all of 1994, all of 1995. I want you to go back and look at the money story. What were you doing financially back then? Now, that energy could have definitely given you a massive change as well in your relationship to tarot, numerology, astrology, the deep occult mysteries, spiritual awakening. There is that. You might have gone through that kind of passageway back then. Sometimes inheritances can come, especially with the South Node in the fourth house, from your family of origin, from your legacy wealth. This kind of thing in your chart with this triple conjunction can look like anything from inheritances from mom or dad kind of stuff, or great grandparents or grandparents, but also it could move into money that you get or you come into from a sibling two younger than you. For example, I know that's not something you want to hear, or one older than you. Sometimes siblings will age out when we're old, ahead of us, and maybe leave us something behind. But otherwise, just think about money coming to you in new ways that you're not actually working for. And with Saturn, also the Lord of the story, it's going to actually be connected to your ability to stabilize worldly success in a career path. Like maybe, I can't tell you what this money is, but whatever it is, it allows for this worldly success in the career to be more stable and more blessed in some way. Could look like as well divorce settlement monies being shared, and the announcement that me and my partner are separating, partner and I. That'll take over 2 years to fulfill itself because the relationship has grown quite old and very tired, and it's time to move on. So, like you've been together for a long time, and this could kick the relationship out the door, Gemini. Now, we do want to talk about Jupiter's blessings. He is in a money-making house, exalted, retrograde, going back to the past. Money owed to you from the past could come to you. Chunks of money that are owed to you could come to you off this. And Jupiter's just watching out for your finances anyway. He's watching over you, goes direct March 11th, and then it's off to the races on your earnings. But in the meantime, this retrograde could indicate money due to you from the past coming to the present. And as this is really piling up here, there's a lot of energy connected to, a moon that's going to be in Virgo until probably midway through the day on Thursday. So that takes you back to money from your family of origin, siblings and parents, for example, as well. Don't forget, this can roll out over 2 years. If money's coming to you, Venus will bring it by the end of calendar year 2026. Don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, and all the good stuff. All righty, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Let's go with the story of the stellium of change in your seventh house of long-term committed love and relationship, and audience and marketplace and business partners, all the others that you encounter. And you might have noticed in 1994-95, there was some major energy going on in that seventh house. Now, it can be that if you were unmarried, you married. If you were married, you unmarried sometime in 1994-95. But it also could have changed the life of your partner. They may have gone through a significant change, right? They may have been starting their life, taking new professional training, for example. That's very likely here. or that they started a new career path, or that they had a major loss or death of someone in their life, even the setting place. So there may have been things going on in the life of a long-term committed love partner that you got to watch unfold over 2 years, right? In 94, 95. This is rolling out again in 2026, all of 2027. And because Saturn's watching it from the house of courts and legal matters, as well as from the house of academics, as well as from the house of churches and religions, again, there might be some connection here to some wanting to see a change in your relationship life connected to travel, distant lands, spiritual communities, religious paths, but also courts and legal matters as well, where you have to go through the fine print, And yeah, I'm going to keep some of the other thoughts I have about it up to myself because I don't want to upset any Cancers out there. If you're looking for a relationship because you're single, look no further than distant shores, far off lands, spiritual community, academic settings to bring you into contact with a potential reset button in the house of committed long-term love with a nod to sexy passion, fifth house romance. So this could most likely bring a single Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, a relationship. Maybe you meet this person through your friends, allies, and benefactors, social groups, and social settings as well, thanks to Venus's support. So it would be a very powerful relationship because it's coming in on such a stellium of energy. The only thing I'd be worried about is that it starts off with such a weight in the seventh house that any new relationship could really take you off course. You could really attract the gravitational pull is taking care of the other person. You know what I mean? Yeah. So be careful for that. And with the South Node trine, it could indicate health challenges, although overcomable in the next 2 years for a significant long-term relationship partner. You will see Jupiter. Yeah. And maybe a change of neighborhood connected to changes in a long-term relationship, changes of home as well. You can see that Jupiter is witnessing and blessing it. He's definitely opening up a lot of goodness to this event and also protecting you. So it all said and done, you're pretty strong with Jupiter on your team, not to fall into a vortex of a life mate's messy life, but also you could be falling into a new relationship. And I do want to mention with an exalted Jupiter here, Venus is a ruler. With an exalted Jupiter here, there's something about this that could look like, you can hold your own. Like if a new relationship's coming in, an exalted Mars opposite an exalted Jupiter, right? You can hold your own in that relationship. You can maybe be able to stand your ground. Otherwise, I'd be a little worried about the stellium being lopsided in some way. And lastly, Mars is going to reset in the seventh house. And he rules your 10th house of career. And I think that maybe you guys are getting ready to change your career path, trying to heal the chironic wound around career. And Mars will help you do that. But likely because of changes in your life connected to your relationship to clients and audience or a significant love relationship. Okay. Am I still rolling? Am I sharing or not? All this time, am I just talking to myself? I'm not even sure I'm in the share mode. I'm not sharing. I thought I was sharing all this time. Well, you got to listen to me without seeing the sky. I apologize for that. Okay, I'm going to grab some kombucha and continue, and I will share the sky for the rest of you. Okay. I hope I can share this time. I was sure I was sharing. So anyway, oh well, you got to listen without seeing. That's not the end of the world. Moving into the next sign, Leo. All right, Leo, you got a massive stellium in your sixth house. This is an energetic reboot that's like 1994, 1995, and it's going to reset your work. So there's something about livelihood, job, work, service. It wants to make a change, and maybe health protocols and health routines, maybe matters to do with renting a property or having a pet. All of these are having an incredible reset button. Go back to 1994 to 1996, all of 94, all of 95. Did you have major changes in the themes I've just itemized for you? Because Mars rules your house of property and home, and this is a possible rental property energy. Some of you may have rented a property, but you could also buy a property based on the North Node Saturn thing. And maybe there is a sense of there were some major residential changes in 94, 95, and maybe you're going to do it again. You could rent, you could buy, you can do both. And you can even sell a property. And when? In the 2 years that follows this reset button, with remembering that Venus is only visible mid-February, Mars is only visible mid-March. There's nothing happening overnight. This is a bigger story. It's a 2-year story. However, this time around, we have lovely Lord Jupiter loving it up. So Jupiter witnessing this entire story here is supporting the development of something good in your life, something good connected to better health, getting rid of addictions and self-undoing, moving into more spiritual attunement to your life, finding a more spiritual path in life. A moksha liberation house is activated here, but also releasing karmic debts. Now you can release real debts like, oh my God, I paid off my credit card in the next 2 years. Sure. But you can also release a karmic debt, something that like a relationship debt to another person. It can be a father figure. It could be a sibling, karmic debt to a sibling too older. It could be energetics around releasing something that is binding you, that's a self-undoing bad habit or addiction. And you can do this much easier. Like, maybe you did something like that in 94, 95. There is also something going on about money over here. And this is a debt house. So there's a restructuring of debt, elimination or removal of debt. And Venus wants you also to enjoy your work. She's like, are you having any fun? You want to enjoy your work, be passionate and hardworking and engaged. And you want to maybe make some money, commercial enterprise. And have a good time, even be socially enjoying your work. And because of Mercury and Venus together. And so it kind of looks like maybe over the next couple of years, you're going to make a major shift in the work environment. And Mercury does rule the way you make money. So I see you moving towards more happy, exciting work outside the box, completely different than something you've done before. Uranus in your 10th, ruled by Venus. But this work and career shift and money shift is going to be wonderful. It's different in 1994, 95. Uranus is saying, go outside the box, color outside the lines, find something crazy wild that you really enjoy. That wasn't there back in the 1990s. And so there's a few things that are not quite the same, but a similar vibe of the sixth house is shifting gears for you. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign, you are making some serious changes here in your relationship and sex and romance and children and fertility and pregnancy house. Number one, Venus is a pregnancy fertility goddess. And Mars is decisions and actions. You might be making some decisions in the next 2 years around fertility and pregnancy. I don't care if you're the guy or the girl. It's like the partnership's making the decisions, right? Somebody's talking babies. Are we talking about terminating a pregnancy? That's Mars. Are we talking about decisions and actions to try to have a baby or accept the pregnancy that's here or whatever? With the Uranus trine baking in, it can be an unexpected, shocking, surprising pregnancy or unexpected, shocking pregnancy of a child leading to you having an unexpected grandchild. However, the fifth house is much more than that. It's romantic love and going out on dates and meeting somebody. And it's ruled by Saturn in the house of commitment. Single Virgos may, off of this energy, in the next 2 years, meet somebody. It's a little bit like 1994 to 95, but it's not entirely the same. And the other energy would be you could use the fifth house to be artistic, creative, and entrepreneurial. And Mars loves to be entrepreneurial here. And so if you wanted to create your own business and be a self-starter, especially if you're using the third house of the digital world, but this could be a box outlet, retail outlet, and brick and mortar as well, social media, online landscape, entrepreneurship. Holy man. In the next couple of years, think about a new business angle where you're starting a gig that's different than anything you've done before. Maybe outside the box, could have international things, could be writing, publishing, teaching, learning. You want to move away from what you're doing, probably if you're employed, right? You might be looking in the next 2 years to find your own gig and do your own thing. You want to be enjoying life, pleasure, fun, play, inspiration, and enthusiasm. That's what Venus is trying to help you do. And the next year, she's going to give you more evidence for that. And, the fifth house is also the children you already have. And there's some major changes here. Like one of your children, maybe they're older, will move out of the home in the next 2 years. Maybe with Mars here, you are going to be just watching your children do a lot of high intensity changes in their own lives. One of your children, particularly the firstborn child, like a firstborn child, if they're an adult for a Virgo, could get married in the next 2 years, for example. Okay. Jupiter watches the whole thing from the house of good spirit. You could come into some windfall money off of this if you play a competitive game of gambling, right? Hitting the casino, maybe getting a ticket. You're competing with other ticket holders. Mercury is the ticket. This could be a good one for Virgos to go ahead and, don't overdo it. Buy a lottery ticket. I would choose a ticket purchase maybe when Venus is in the heart of the sun on the 6th or near the 6th of January. But again, unfolding over time, some of the stories here take 2 years to all blend out or all happen, right? But there could be some windfalls or some financial good fortune coming as well from this sky somehow, some way, who knows how. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. The energy here is connected to a stellium and a triple conjunction of in a place of home, property, land, and real estate. And obviously it could move you. Like you can move to a new country. You can move to a new city. You can move to a town. I said country because Mars can move you to a new country. Venus just wants a pleasurable, beautiful home. This has a signature maybe of doing construction and decorating in the next couple of years, or even in the shorter term. There's next year, designing, decorating, rebuilding a home, building a home. This could also open up unexpected opportunities to buy or sell a property. And for some of you, Libras, this could be legacy wealth from family of origin, father figures, more than likely coming into your world, or money from a significant spousal relationships, family, and your in-laws coming through inheritances into your life in unexpected and surprising ways. The fourth house can definitely be about what you want to do in the home and from the home, and you might want to start a new business because Mars and Mercury are commercially activated energies. Entrepreneurial energies here. They could bring great profit and enjoyment. And because Saturn in the house of rentals, rent a home that gives you a space to build a home office, or a change of home with a home office space that allows you to thrive and be prosperous in the home. Jupiter is retrograde in your 10th house. He's witnessing it from the house of career. It looks to me like he wants to give you really great blessings all the way down to the bottom of the sky from their career and reputation space. So you're going to be doing really well in your career because of things that are changing in your private life, right? Like where you live, whom you live with, enjoyment of your own home, space in your home to work, things like that. And I kind of would mention with the moon kind of lingering for most of the week in Virgo, some of you might be wanting to change your home to a distant shore or far off place. This could be the other side of your country. This could be a city on the other side of the state that you live in. This could be another country as well. If you make a change of home connected to a distance move, it's connected to work opportunities in the next 2 years. Many of you will move your home in the next 2 years. Some of you will move your home by March, thanks to Mars. All righty, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign versus the stellium of energy in your 3rd house. This can be a neighborhood change. Like you don't want to live in the same hood. You want to move. You want to change your city or town or area that you live in. And you want to find something beautiful, refined, maybe near a mountain or on a mountain, maybe connected to a place where you have a more fun in the local hood. You can just walk out your door and go to a restaurant or a bar or a place that you want to hang out, a library. I don't know. That's the vibe in the 3rd house. And if you don't live in that environment that I'm describing, then you're going to try to change your home. Mars rules rentals. You'll probably rent a property, not buy. But I don't see a buy. So could you rent a property to change your home? You might be making some changes in your home and neighborhood connected as well to your children or romance, to be closer to your children geographically because of a new romantic relationship that's building up or taking off, and you want to be closer to each other, especially if you're not. And the energy also can open up some big changes in your landscape of social media and online world. If you are a social media beast and you do all of the platforms down here, this is an auspicious reset. We had it in 94, 95. I keep trying to remind everybody it goes back to the past. How are you resetting like 94, 95 if you were alive? In the 3rd house stories, changes in the relationship to siblings, right? Moving away, moving closer, enjoying more. Connections to your extended aunts and uncles are shifting here. The cousins, the whole fam, the tribe, the kinship is changing. There's a lot of love from Lord Jupiter. And again, he's trying to get you to prosper in the words book publishing, international, far off lands, foreign shores, distant places. or in travel, I'd say you're going to travel in the next 2 years a lot more than you normally do, both domestically and internationally. And for some reason, that travel is going to be very life affirming and bring you more joy. You might even find a new spiritual path in the next 2 years as well. If you're going to change your home, though, and you could do that off of this one, right? No major home changes or neighborhood changes should occur or probably will occur before the middle of March, just because of the invisibility of Mars. Over the next 2 years, however, you may see a change of hood. And it could definitely pull you away from old social groups and friendship circles because you will be moving farther away from them, but you will also be much happier in this new location. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. We have a sky that says, money, 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 honey. You want to make some money? Let's make some money. This is an energy of the earnings, resources, savings, financial wellness of your life. This is a house of dietary habits as well. Cutting out, ending, and severing addictions, right? Mars, Scorpio. Time to quit the wine, weed, and whatever else, woman and song, you've got to get rid of what is not good to put in your nose and mouth. And this is going to help you do it. If you had any of those kinds of problems back in 1994, 95, did you manage to put them to rest and quit what was wrong with your dietary habits or addictive stuff, right? You might have done that before. And this time, however, you got Lord Saturn giving you an easy way to quit, like go the distance, stick with it. Quit the bread, quit the wine, quit the gluten, whatever that you're not supposed to eat, you'll stop doing it. And Saturn will give you strength because you're plumbing the depths of your ancestral line in order to be strong enough to quit something that could come off the next 2 years. You may also have money to possess a new car or a new home in the next 2 years. You may also, by the way, come into some inheritances or money from the sale of a property or money from property connected to your parents or your siblings when you were growing up. And there's just some kind of money that could come to you, thanks to Jupiter in your 8th house, to reset your reality in a big way. And this could even, therefore, end up looking a little bit like in the next 2 years, your financial wellness is going to allow for a move. You might change where you live. Now, Mercury's embedded in this whole story, and he's the ruler of your career space. And there's a whole Artha houses 10, 2, and 6 energy to consider. You're going to release any kind of career path completely in the next 2 years that you've priorly identified with. Like you've thought, that's my thing. I have this kind of career. Even if you're retired, you always, you identified with the way you operated in the world for purpose and career. You're going to let that go completely. And you're going to move towards something new and something that's much more maybe magical, mystical, spiritual. Okay. Something along those lines. And if you want to make any facial changes to rejuvenate or beautify your face, veneers on your teeth, a nose job. I hate this stuff, but I haven't done any, Botox, injectables, dermabrasion, laser surgeries, whatever you want to do to your face. This is your face. Venus is beauty and looking good and handsome. Mars is all of the procedures that you would do to the face. Don't do any procedures to your face until Mars is visible if you can avoid it. So try to hold off on those cosmetic procedures to your face until mid-March because you want Mars to be visible. Now he's a surgeon. What's an invisible surgeon look like? I don't know. Could be a problem, right? So you want a visible Mars or a visible injectable or a visible laser process, right? So you want Mars to be visible and Venus to be visible even maybe. So that's mid-February. So hold off on those. But it can mean over 2 years, you're improving the way you facially appear. And by the way, if you're an addict, right, you're addicted to anything and you quit your addiction, your face is going to look better. I can guarantee you that much. Okay. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Moving on. Oh, and Mars is the ruler of your house of children. There may be some issues with money and your children over the next 2 years if you have children. Maybe you'll be called on to support your children, back them up, help your children financially. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. Yes, 1994, 1995. I'm an auctioneer today. You had this experience of a reset button in Capricorn in your first house. Your first house is a house that connects you to your identity. If you're a rising, your career, if you're a sun, and your home life, if you're a Capricorn moon. Now, you might have had a change in either any of those: Cap moon, home; Cap sun, career; Cap rising, your identity, your facial appearance, everything about you. It's your way of being in the world, your character. Reset, reset, reset. 1994, 1995. I started like December of 93. What happened back then kind of bled into a little bit of 94, 95, 90 into early 96. So those changes are back, but different. All right. Not the same exactly, but close. Now, for you Cap risings, it's a lot of energy around how you show up in the world. Do you want to be more attractive, more friendly, more congenial, more assertive, more goal directed, more orienting towards, commander in chief of your life? That's the kind of vibe you'll take on as a Cap rising. But as a Cap sun, it's about career. And so you want to be somewhat more profitable and directed and successful and action oriented in career matters. And the moon will move you. If you're a Cap moon, get ready. There's no way you're having a Mars story, with a Cap moon and a Mercury as well, without a new property coming your way, probably within 2 years. Go back to 94, 95. Did you move your home? So there's 3 stories depending on which Capricorn you're listening for, sun, moon, or rising. Now, when Mars becomes visible in March, you become Mars, commander in chief, executive decision-making power. You know what you want. You'll cut away people, places, and things you don't want with no regrets, including relationships, 7th house, where you live, 4th house, career directions and matters, 10th house. Cut, snip, sever. It's not what you add. It's what you let go of. Cap rising. Master, how do you carve a perfect elephant every time? Cut away all that is not elephant. You're also probably going to move because Mars is the lord of your 4th house, and you're going to change your career path because Venus is the lord of your 10th. Now, Venus could bring you a wedding in the sign of Libra within the next 2 years after this, a legal marriage agreement. Jupiter is in the house of significant spousal type people. This is also the house of a sibling, 3 younger or 3 older. And in either of those cases, this could be bounty and money from a spouse or a partner, in love, significant, and or bounty and money from a sibling 3 older or younger coming into your life within the next 2 years. Especially with the sun ruling the house of inheritances or chunks of money. And everyone's piling up on the sun. You're looking at Saturn witnessing the story from the 3rd house, which is probably going to relocate you to a different area of where you live. Like, this would probably keep you domestic rather than a foreign country, but not Rahu can mean the foreign place or foreign energy, but this is also more the domestic travel. So there could be some moves, that's for sure, to a new property, a new home that's domestic, like nearby, because I already see a change of home here, but it may not be off to Siberia or something. Unexpected surprises coming in love that are going to sort of knock your socks off, right? Because of Uranus and Venus in this trine. And, you may be swept off your feet. You may not see it coming, or you could begin to engage in what we would say, unusually, non-traditional love stories. Like Uranus can be polyamory or super weird ways to approach love, like it's not conventional, but you could also just be exhilarated and shocked and surprised in relationship to love in the next 2 years. So if you're single, that could bring you somebody, right? If you're already with somebody, Jupiter retrograde here is reassessing relationship in your life. And this could be because Mars cuts and severs. You might be tempted to sever or end a relationship, a marriage relationship in the next year or 2. Venus wants the best for you. She wants you to enjoy life. That's especially true for Cap rising. Okay. If you want to write and publish, if you want to go on the internet, if you want to teach or learn, if you want to do any social media stuff, all of you, Cap, Sun, Moon, and Rising, you're going to get more profitable because of it. And you're going to know which direction to go in March. So March 11th, you'll know, add, whatever time frame, a couple of years. This is a little bit like 94, 95, but it's different, right? It's got Jupiter's blessing for one thing. So hopefully that's going to help you navigate this. So let's stay tuned for the next thing, which is Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. I am one of you. It's kind of an interesting sky for me when I look at this for you. For us, right? Because it's so subtle, because the 12th house is not something we see in the outer world quite often. It does make us money from far off lands and distant shores, and we can change the way we make money based on that. New company, we work overseas, we have a foreign company we work for, we're on international digital media, online money making, that's fine. But underneath all of this 12th house commercial stuff is literally the soul work, your past lives and your karmic debts and your ancestral line junk and everything. And there's breakthroughs here because moksha, liberation, South Node in the 8th house, Uranus in the 4th house, and the 12th house, kaboom. Something is trying to break free, break through. This is like a spontaneous awakening or a spiritual breakthrough and enlightenment energy for some of you Aquarians, especially rising sign. Okay. Sun, it could breaking through in your career success connected to far off places. Moon, maybe changing your home connected to far off places as well. Well, with Jupiter in the 6th house, your health is improving, but you're also getting rid of addictions. And with Saturn in the house of what you eat and put in your nose and mouth, it says the same thing. So it's big improvements coming in the next 2 years on health matters as you find ways to no longer imbibe in substances that are bad for you, whether it's gluten or Haagen-Dazs or wine or wheat or whatever your stuff is. It looks like you're cutting it out with ease and no problem. It's easy to do. It's like, I'm just going to let it go. I'm just done. I hit my wall or I hit my limit. So that's going to bring that kind of new kind of clarity to your life as well. You don't have a lot of latitude with Pluto in your sign, or nor do I. I mean, we're being transpersonally willpowered, and the more we surrender, the better we're going to be here. And you're going to make some changes in your money and earnings as well. The way you make money, the resources, and how the money comes to you is changing. And you could actually have debt owed to you from the past suddenly return. You could have the ability to pay down any debts that you have. There is a possibility with Venus in the 12th house, you'll meet a new love partner. But if you do, that partner is probably from another country or far off land or foreign shore, probably has even if they live in your country, they might speak 2 languages, have a different skin color or culture or background or religion. So, to fall in love with a foreigner or something is kind of in the code of the sky. Okay. And time is of the essence here. Venus won't bring you a visible love story until after mid-February, and she offers it up till the end of the year of 2026. Mars cannot bring you much until he's completely done and finished up being invisible, so till mid-March. Venus and Mars together could change your home in the next 2 years. Move to a new home. It could be a beautiful rental based on Jupiter's support. And I also would say, if you go back to 1994, 95, we didn't have Jupiter's support for that rental thing, right? We didn't have Saturn's support for easily quitting addictions and all of that. We didn't have that. But we did have the other basic meaning. So go back and ask yourself about whether you moved your home, or maybe you had some new source of money coming from a foreign land, or you lived in a foreign country and made money in a new way. And so I'm an Aquarius rising, as I said. So 93, 94, 95 was my transition away from my career as a journalist and moved into my career as a psychic reader. So it really was a change of career in a foreign land. I lived in the United States and I'm Canadian. So similar vibes are back again at the very simplistic 12th house meaning. And I saw clients all over the world, including Europe, from my foreign land base in the United States. So that was how it played out for me last time. And that was without Jupiter here and without Saturn here. So it was a different story, but it's still somewhat similar. And spiritual awakenings, yes, absolutely. You could have spiritual awakenings under the sky. All right, moving on to the next story. Last but not least, and best and always best, are the Pisces sun, moon, and rising sign people. And what we're got going on here is you have this complicated energy in your 11th house. All the planets are piled up. And this assembly of planets is invisible, but they will produce results over time. It's like 1994 and 1995 when these planets piled up here in January of 94. And throughout that 94-95 timeframe, you reset your career gains, the way you make money in your career, your long-range plans, goals, wishes, and dreams for your life, and its outcomes. Relationships to friends and allies and benefactors changed, as well as a sibling went older in 1994 and 1995. Now, this is a windfalls house called pennies from heaven at times, cosmic rewards. And maybe you felt in 94, 95, some good things happened that felt like windfalls or really lucky breaks. Well, with Jupiter in your 5th house, fortifying that, this is not a bad sky for winning a ticket, winning a lottery ticket, getting a gamble to pay off, or some unexpected prosperity from a sibling, one older or two older than you, coming your way and supporting you. Now, because Venus is the goddess of love and she's in the house of friends, and if you're single, there may be a friendship that becomes a love relationship in the next 2 years and migrates from one form to the other. You are letting go and releasing something to do with a committed long-term love while you take time to solidify and make yourself the most important thing in the world. However, if you're already in a relationship that started in the last couple of years with a South Node here, this could be a year and a half. This could be somebody that is very much about your a faded relationship or a relationship from your past. Could have returned beginning in January of 25. And if this reset happens here, right, it's happening right here, it could do a couple of things for you. It could lead to a legal agreements like let's get married, let's get eloped, let's make a formal liaison, legal liaison in this relationship, right? A wedding could happen too, but it's more like you're going to low key do some private legal consolidation of an existing relationship. This is also going to help you make money. If you've been dealing with a chironic wound about money, you're going to try to heal that now and find new ways to make money and profit. And Venus up in the 11th house can bring you celebrity in the next 2 years. You might be on a book tour, radio tour. You might be more in the public eye. You might be on podcasts. You might be sharing your message with the world more broadly, coming out of your shell, being more public, influencing groups of people are some ideas here. Now, if you've been with somebody for longer than since January of 25, then you are in a little bit of a difficult spot with that relationship. I'm just not going to lie about that. It could end up like that relationship is going down into a kind of a weakened state of some kind, Pisces. And there may be a feeling here that the relationship itself, because it does get South Node trined to the stellium, right? Could have a sudden shocking change. Okay. Like a sudden shocking change. Because this guy can move you too. I can see you having a new home in the next 2 years, right? Venus rules 3rd and Mercury rules 4th. That's changing your home. But because of unexpected, shocking, or surprising changes in the relationship that you're in, and then the move or change of home can come from it. And if that does happen, it's more likely over the next 2 years, it's more likely brought on by something sharp and pointy that Mars is trying to activate. Sometimes a relationship is ready to end, but we let it linger and Saturn wants to hold on forever. This is you. Like, I'm going to stick with this thing no matter what, right? And it's like a marathon of a relationship, but Mars is like, no. It's time to snip something. And it's looking at the South Node of letting go in the house of marriage. So if you're in a long-standing relationship that it's really, really, what's the word? Petrified, like a petrified wood, or it's become like stagnant or it's unbearable, but you're hanging in there. I'm telling you, that's not going to be there in 2 years from now if that's the kind of relationship you're in. And finally, your children can have children. This is like, hey, I'm going to be a grandparent. Surprise. Or I'm so excited. And that's over the next 2 years as well, Pisces. You are going to be a grandmama or a granddaddy. Thank you, Jupiter, and all of that. And finally, I say, if you are in a career path that is no longer working for you because Jupiter wants to bring joy to it. And and Venus always wants to do something pleasurable. It's making money in a way that you enjoy, right? This is going to be the key part of it. Being creative, inspired, enthusiastic, turned on by life, turned on about how to make money, ways to make money. It's not because it's duty, not because it must be done, not because it's drudgery. This is going to reset you. Now, of course, I told you to go back to 94, 95. I think I did. You might have changed your home. You had, pregnancy, fertility, children, grandchildren going on. You might have had, a loss of a relationship that is important to you. This is the house of an elder sibling activates this time around activates. And we did then too, the house of siblings in general, thanks to Venus. Fractures or endings in relationships with siblings happened maybe back then. It doesn't have to be that way. And you might have made major changes in your marital status, one way or the other, getting married or getting divorced back then. So we're back in the thick of it again, and you're going to have to go throughout all of 26 and 27 to be able to see how it might look a little bit like 94 and 95. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. It's a big recording day. I can't believe I'm doing this. I didn't plan to record most of my day on January 1st, but I had to get it all done. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Hit the hype button. I don't know how that works. Like after the video, you can hit the hype button. And don't forget to share this with friends and family. And I will see you on the next video. I believe I'm dropping this baby on a Monday, and I'm dropping one on Tuesday with an interview with another astrologer about the Venus star point. And then I'll be back on Thursday with my regular content. I'll be talking about the Mars reset button in specific with a deeper dive into it. I will have taught the webinar, however, the night before on the, let me just double check my calendar. January the 8th. I'm dropping a video on January the 8th. I can't remember if my webinar is on the 7th or the 8th, but my Mars webinar is in the description box below if you want to join me and learn a lot more about how to handle these Mars reset buttons every 2 years. Bye, guys. Take care. See you soon.